as I mentioned in the comments below, I am running Glens Gasses mod, and that brings a lot of danger into the single player world. It produces gases that can be explosive, that can cause damage. Water hitting lava turns into steam, which hurts you quite a bit. Mining coal releases coal dust, which if it gets near an ignition source like a torch, maybe even lava, I haven't tested that out yet, it explodes. There's some very explosive gases. There are some gases in the nether that are now made, and the gold plates just aren't cutting it anymore. I don't really need the experience. I need the protection. I need to not die. So I'm going to swap out the gold plates here for some copper ones that have the blast protection. There we go. I've now got a nice copper suit. So this should help quite a bit. So there's a new base off in the distance there as the sun's about to set. I got a bunch of big jungle trees going. The old base, you can kind of see it off to the left there. And my obsession with sandstone floors has brought me to the sand hills. I'm going to need a lot of materials for things coming up. And I'm just leveling this thing down. Steam shovel works very well at this. And I'm running out of daylight here. Okay, so my entire stone heat furnace system just blew up, and blew up a lot. I just had to rebuild the whole thing from, the ground up basically. It took out the entire bank to the this entire side here. It was just completely obliterated, just gone. It took out some of the steam pipe, so pretty much only the stuff on this 1/2 side was still around, but all the wiring over here was just destroyed. Somehow the hoppers and the furnaces survived, but it blew a hole in the ground, blew this whole west bank completely away. System's still recharging, so the lights are flickering pretty badly right now. So yeah, it's an interesting mod, the Electrical Age mod. Batteries are just about empty, but the system's coming back online, and hopefully they won't explode again, but we'll see. Alright, so I've been running out of materials pretty quickly in my base, so I am going to come way out over here. See, there's the base off in the distance there, but I'm running into an issue where I'm running out of sand. I need sand, I need a lot of sand. So I come out here to the edge of the desert, and I'm going to set up a thumper. So here's how we do this guy. So I've gone ahead and set up a couple of steam furnaces here. I've got a valve in the middle to get the system going. They're starting to build pressure up, and so hopefully pretty quickly here I can crack this thing open and get that thumper going. Now once this thing goes, it's loud. So what's going to happen is it's going to start breaking up everything underneath it. And I have these vacuums set up so that they're going to reach down to their maximum distance of 19 blocks and start vacuuming up whatever is broken up underneath it, and start depositing it inside these chests. So once this thing gets up to about halfway on the system, I'm going to crack it open and let that thumper start doing its thing, which hopefully won't be too much longer here. The thumper does require a decent amount of pressure to operate. Throw in the 4 vacuums and you'd need a decent little setup. So I mean, this is fairly substantial as far as that goes. Looks like some kind of a scorpion, especially with it sitting out in the sand like this. So yeah, I think that's a good name for it. I'm gonna call it the Scorpion Thumper. Yeah, one-eyed scorpion. Yeah. Okay, so we're getting up to pressure on the system here. Let it go a little past halfway. The sun's starting to set in the distance there. Alright. And there we go. Now it's going to start making a hole pretty far below the surface, but once it's broken through, these guys should start vacuuming up whatever it is that this guy is breaking apart. So we'll let this run and come back to it. Alright, so as I mentioned before, I am running low on pretty much all of the fuel I need to keep the lights on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make not just these little guys here, but I'm going to make a fairly substantial tree farm over here. I'm going to use the design that's been presented on the wiki after I kill this creeper. Now I need to get rid of the cobblestone, or the stone anyway, for dirt to plant the trees, so he's actually doing construction work for me, whether he wants to or not. Forced labor. Yeah. And so I'm going to get going with putting all of these trees down and build what will probably be a fairly substantial farm, and hopefully be able to harvest a large amount of material in a relatively short period of time. Just need to do some landscaping here to get things situated, and yeah, you can't exactly grow trees underwater. You can only spawn them when you make a world. So get this filled in, throw down some glowstone blocks, and build up a fairly sizable tree farm. And since I'm using the Treecapitator mod, it won't be too difficult to knock this setup down once it's all grown. And then just keep repeating the process, and hopefully keep my lights on, because it gets a little scary in that place at night. There's a lot of levels to it. I have had in the past, not necessarily in this base yet, but I have had hostile mobs spawn inside the base. I don't know how exactly that happened. It was fairly well lit, at least I thought it was. So we're gonna make sure that these lights stay on. I'm going to reconfigure the furnaces, the stone heat furnaces, to hopefully make the design a little more efficient and better utilize what resources I do have on hand. And I will be right back with hopefully a couple new little setups for you guys to check out and go from there. Alright, and I'm back, and here's what I made for this giant tree farm. It is one chunk, and it actually uses the same pattern of growth as is used for like what you see on the Wikipedia for the sugarcane farm. So this is pretty crazy. So it took about 3 full stacks of saplings in order to make this thing. So we're going to see just exactly how much material we get out of this guy real quick here. I'm probably going to destroy my axe in the process. Okay, and here we have it. We've got all of this from that giant single chunk of trees. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get enough saplings to go ahead and repopulate the whole thing in one go, so I'm going to have to go grab some more saplings to get this thing redone. But as you can see, we got a large amount of material. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and a half stacks of wood. Alright, so it's all reset. The sun is setting. And yeah, I already got those other blocks all set up in the furnaces, getting turned into charcoal to keep the furnaces going, to keep the lights going. And yeah, so here we go again with round 2. Alright, so I'm at a pretty desperate point right now. I have to go caving. I am like out of iron, and I need iron extremely badly. This sword is literally the only pieces of iron I have left. And I'm going to have to convert this into iron ingots with the crucible here, just so that I can make a couple of things that I absolutely have to have right now in order to keep going forward. Alright, so I did some more scrounging around. I found some more iron pieces that I was able to put back into ingots. So I'm now up to 11 pieces of iron. So now with that I can put together some much needed supplies. Now you remember I mentioned that I'm running the Glens Gasses mod. So what happens when I go caving or even go into the nether? There are now these highly dangerous gases down in what was once a relatively safe environment. I break apart coal, and coal dust is released. If it touches a torch, it explodes. There's natural gas. If that touches a torch, it explodes. There's this heavier than air red gas that if it touches a torch, it explodes. If I go into the nether, there's these two different gases. There's a gas that emits electricity that kills me, and then there's a blue gas that tends to kind of dissolve stuff, break stuff, and when those two gases meet, they make things that explode. So there's a lot of explosions going on, and I need to make a pumping system in order to get the materials out of the way, protect myself, and not explode. Okay, so first things first, I needed to do I need to make a tank, which is the pipe, and that, so I got a tank so I can store the stuff. Now, I believe it was like this for making the pump. Alright, we're good there. I still have 5 pieces of iron left. Yeah, so the Glens Gasses mod is actually a pretty dangerous thing. I've only survived a couple of the explosions thanks to the exosuit and its protection that's given me. If I wasn't wearing this thing, I would have been dead quite a bit. So once we get things all situated here, we're going to go take off down to the caves and hopefully get some more materials here. Alright, that's all I got time for tonight, so I will see you guys next time. Hopefully we'll get into some of this gas stuff that I keep talking about that keeps wanting to explode and kill me. And from there we will go and hopefully start taking care of some of that stuff. I'm going to go to the nether and get the pump going out there. Get the gases away from my my nether gate, or nether portal, excuse me. And hopefully you'll get to see exactly what it is that the Glens Gasses mod brings about, and see if you guys want to add it to your world. Even if you're playing in single player mode, but on peaceful mode, it brings danger into the game, so that it still brings some challenges, suffocation as well as explosions and fire and electrocution, all kinds of good stuff. So I'm OutCaster1, and that's all I got time for tonight, and good night.